Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome to round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg. Joining me in the announce booth, as always, Larry Lefty McLeod. And of course, let's not forget that masshole Jonathan Grabowski, who'll be giving you all the best views of tonight's action. And so tonight we travel to the Japanese island of Honshu in one of only 2 FIA Grade 1 circuits to utilize a figure 8 layout. And this 3.6 mile, 17 turn carnival was commissioned by Soshiro Honda as a test track and first saw action back in 1962. And as much as Larry and I wax poetic about Eau Rouge or the Kink, the speeds obtained through the iconic 130R for some types of race cars and passes such as the one of Fernando Alonso, the one that he made on Michael Schumacher there in 2005, are there in the annals of racing lore. But make no mistake, this is a momentum track with a plethora of decreasing radius turns that will test the handling and the right foot of our GT4 and LMP2 racers tonight. And so thanks for joining us tonight at the Suzuka International Racecourse. So Larry, hopefully you don't have mushmouth disease like I do tonight. Good evening and welcome to Suzuka.
You covered about everything in that intro. I don't think there's anything left to say. You got everything from the Massachusetts jokes all the way into calling it the miniMite series. A whole marketing campaign for sure. But yes,
the miniMite series. That's that's instead of racing big wheels around here tonight.
Very true. All right, we are here at Suzuka, which is the best track in the land of the rising sun. It is just one of those tracks that has a little bit of everything. What it doesn't have is a whole lot of passing. So we're going to see what kind of dangerous passing we're going to get, certainly in our Intermix classing as always. And we'll see if patience can be shown, or perhaps a little bit of aggressiveness will be what ends up being the theme of the night. But it's always fun, the miniMite series. I think I'm looking forward to a good one. Like I said, I love Suzuka. I think the intensity of the season now, as we're kind of getting into the final third, is getting there. There's definitely some folks who are looking for opportunities. We'll see if they take them patiently or if they decide to just come like a kamikaze.
I like that. Absolutely. All right, Larry. So we've got our drivers heading out for qualifying right now. And as we always do here in the miniMite series, give them 15 minutes. And within those 15 minutes, we give them the opportunity to turn in 4 flying laps to set the grid for this evening's race. And the racers, it appears to them when they're on track that they've got the track all by themselves, or all to themselves. We've got 3 different classes out on track tonight. As we mentioned, we've got our GT4 racers, which are divided into Pro and Am, much like Dan Carrido, who just went second fastest here early on in qualifying. He is one of our GT4 Pro racers, and you can tell the Pro racers because they've got the red mirrors and number boards and windshield banners and end plates on their wings. Then we've got our GT4 Am racers, who have, much like David Klimovich here, another masshole, I think. David Klimovich, who's got green number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on the wings going over that green sausage curbing right there. And then, of course, we've got our LMP2 racers, who have the orange number boards, much like Bobby Childs, who I believe was our fastest racer in practice just before we went on air here this evening. We'll see if Bobby can move up through the move up here in qualifying just a little bit. But as these drivers are out on track, Larry, I almost forgot what I was going to say. But I think following up on what you said, definitely here passing is at a premium. It is definitely a momentum track. There are, very few hard braking corners here. And at least with the GT4 cars, the draft, I think, is going to maybe be enough to keep you in the game and keep you close to somebody, but it's not like driving the MX-5s or the GR86s where it's going to be enough for you to really outrun anybody into a corner.
Yeah, probably not. This isn't that kind of a draft type of track. This isn't exactly Spa or Road America. There is no massive straights here. But it is a track where you could stay in the game for a while. You could even, really wait for a mistake. You could try to make a move. But there are some spots, because the track has equal lefts and rights, there's some spots where you could work multiple moves. If you can get a run, for example, down into 1, you can make a side-by-side and carry that through the S's. If you make a dive up, coming into the Degner curves, possibly you can make some moves going into there. So a spoon curve, another spot where people take different lines, you could try some activity there. So I think we'll be looking at those areas for some of our activity. And actually, if you got a grandstand seat, you pick those areas around the track to probably watch from. But tonight we're going to show you all those best angles, and because we're going to get to see all the action right here. And I'm looking forward to it. We've got a lot of battles that will be coming through tonight, and a lot of people that will really be pushing hard.
Yeah, indeed, Larry. And of course, as we've been doing all season long here in the miniMite Sports Car Challenge, we do give you 2 different races each week or each round, and 2 35-minute races here. And what we'll be doing is we'll be inverting a number of the starters based on the finishing order from race number 1. We'll be inverting the top 10 finishers in GT4, and we'll be inverting the top 50% in LMP2 as we watch Lucas Dragota beat. That's, I guess, the equivalent of beating your head against the wall there as he finished up qualifying. We should have, in just a little bit, hopefully we're scheduled to see Adam Johnson from The Wrong Stuff, although it looks like Josh Vidal's sitting in the
There's been a quick late last minute adjustment to that. Unfortunately, Adam wasn't able to make it, but Josh is our guest tonight.
All right, well, tell you what, why don't we bring in Josh Vidal? Josh, of course, driver of the number 26 Ligier here in LMP2.
All right, joining us here is Josh Vidal, pre-race. Josh, got a couple minutes here before we go to grids. What are your thoughts on Suzuka? Where's this land on your rank of tracks?
I kind of favor it more than whatever we raced previously. I like tracks that have elevation change and camber in some of the turns. I think it'll favor me a bit more than a few drivers, but still be hard to win, I think.
Well, you've got kind of the chases on here as we get to the last third of the season. Tyler comes into this with a bit of an advantage. He's had some victories here in the last couple rounds. do you think that maybe that preference for this style of this track maybe can help you chase him down and snag a win here in one of these rounds tonight?
Possibly. I mean, I think with him, if you don't apply pressure to him early on, then he pretty much just runs away. So if I could try to maybe put pressure on him in the first few laps, otherwise I'll just be trailing him the rest of the race.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those. And as you get into the traffic around here, what has it been like practicing this week and trying to get around the GT4s? Has there been good places to it and maybe some places that are not so good that could lead to opportunities for you in your chase of Tyler?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I didn't really get to practice this week. I was at the NASCAR races this weekend, and I had no practice. Today's my first few laps, so I honestly have no idea where to pass or what to do. I'm sort of just learning as I go for this one.
All right, so got a limited practice, but it's Suzuka, and I'm sure it's the track that everybody's been driving for a long time. So at least in that aspect, it can't be too tough to figure out. But those passing zones could be critical tonight, so it'd be interesting for sure. With these pre-race interviews, I always like to ask the drivers here, what do you guys do when obviously you go to NASCAR races? What else do you do when you're not on your sim on Monday nights?
I mean, sometimes I go-kart racing and a few other things, work on my own car and stuff. Mainly just this, I guess. I like this as my main hobby, just to go out and race, whether it's in leagues or officials, oval, road, both. They're both pretty fun.
I guess you do a little bit of the oval racing as well. Do you do that with the Ricmotech series, or do you do that just in other series?
I do that here. I compete in all four. They do 2 ovals and 2 road, so I figured just race on all of them and see what I can learn.
Yeah, that's great. It's a little versatility for sure. I can't do ovals. It's not my thing, but I certainly can respect those that do. So, all right. Well, looks like we're about to get to grid. Appreciate you joining us here. Is anybody you wanted to give any kind of mention or say hi to?
Shout out to Phantom Power Racing. My teammate wasn't able to make it, but I'll try to do my best.
All right. Well, good luck tonight, Josh, and any luck, we'll get a chance to talk to you at the end of it.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That was Josh Vidal, currently running second in LMP2 for Phantom Power Racing, and I'm guessing, Larry, that in the chat, Phantom Power Racing is actually Jake Zito, he's not here running this evening. So I want to wish them all the best, and thanks to Zach Mosley, who said it's very nice to enjoy listening to us rather than being there at Suzuka wrecking his GT4 car. So let's run down the starting order for tonight's first race of the evening. And let's see here. Larry, I'll give you the hard stuff since I can't form 2 sentences without screwing up tonight. Starting on pole tonight in LMP2 for Aerokinetics with a qualifying time of 1:54.135, Tyler King. Adam Johnson from The Wrong Stuff is going to start on the outside of the front row, and hopefully we'll get Adam in here at post race so we can find out why he couldn't come in pre-race. Might also add that Adam was our fastest driver in practice in LMP2 during the week. Josh Vidal starting on the inside of row number 2 for Phantom Power. I want to thank him for joining us here. Jim Pfeiffer from Sector 5 will start on the outside of row number 2, starting 4th. And then we've got Bobby Childs from D2D Sim Racing and Marlon Jones from Lead Paw.
All right, in the GT4s on the starting on the pole tonight from Sector 5 Racing, it is Brian Bennett in that Porsche. He'll be alongside D2D Sim Racing's Eric Violet. On the second row, it's going to be the Saints and Sinners Racing Dan Carrito alongside Leo Jagoda from Orion. On the third row, it's going to be Mike Dam on the inside from Orion, of course, and Chris Thorman from D2D on the outside of row 3. On row 4, it's going to be Rob Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff, and then on the outside, Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers. On row 5, Rob Hartley from Orion alongside David Payton from D2D. Row 6, Travis Schwenke from Orion. John Sterling, the fastest of our AM drivers there from the Eagle Beavers. On row 10, on the following row, if I lost count here, David Klimovich from the Slow Bros Racing, also in the AM category, alongside Jeff Jacobs from SCCA Foundation. And then we got Tom Jenkins from Midfield Motorsports, and alongside Lucas Dragoda from Dragon Sport Racing. We got Neil Weston from HTPK Racing alongside Chad Sebring from Close Enough Crew. Behind them, Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, and Leo Mora from Eagle Beavers, Stephen May from A-Force, Dale Maxwell from Slow Bros, Lyndon Swaby from Sector 5, Brian Steele from SMB, Chris Klimovich, Russ Ruddick, Steven Stinson, and Greg Brockway.
All right, Larry, perfect timing as we've got our LMP2 racers going into the casino triangle now, coming onto the front straight, turning things over to our live starter provided by the SCCA Foundation. And as they enter the speed zone, we wait for that command to start racing. And there we go. Green flag is in the air, Larry, and we are racing here at Suzuka as Tyler King jumps to an early lead over Adam Johnson with Josh Vidal still side by side with Jim Pfeiffer. Child still side by side with Jones. They go into turn number 1. Tyler King taking the lead as our GT4 machines come now onto the front straight and get ready for their start. And there we go. Green flag for the GT4 racers as we've got Brian Bennett from Sector 5 and Eric Violet on the front row. Porsche and Aston Martin, and the Aston Martin comes right across the nose of the Porsche as they head down into turn 1, side by side behind them, Dan Carrito and Leo Dragotta there with Mike Dam and Chris Thorman side by side jockeying for 5th position now as they come down into turns 3 and 4 and into the S's.
Yeah, rough start there for Bennett. Didn't quite get on the throttle when he wanted to. Gave the advantage to Eric Violet. He took a full advantage of it. And Leo Dragotta there slipping in front of Carrito there for 3rd and 4th, but still side by side. Back in the pack, you got David Payton right there with John Sterling, the AM lead, and Travis Schwenke right there in front of him. So we're going to keep our eye on Sterling there as the AM leader, fastest in qualifying, but he's going to have a couple spots behind him, Lucas Dragotta and David Klimovich.
We watch that great battle right there a little bit further behind as we had Jeff Jacobs with Lucas Dragotta and David Klimovich directly behind. Jacobs sitting right in between our AM leader John Sterling with Lucas Dragotta there running in 3rd, and then Dragotta in 2nd in AM and Klimovich 3rd in AM currently. So good start there for those racers as well, but they're gonna be working hard to get around that orange BMW, Brian.
Lucas is trying right here, heading
Brian?
up towards Spoon. He's going to try and keep down on the inside. Can't quite make it stick. That BMW's got good power, but will he stay there? He's going to back out a little bit.
Which one are you again? Oh yeah, you're Larry. That's right. Just be glad I don't call you Chris Stiffler tonight.
Do we need to play the Brian drinking game tonight? I think
we should. Somebody called the Anthonys. Oh, and going off and going wide. That is Leo Mora in his Aston Martin, one of our Eagle Beavers.
A spin there for him. We're going to replay that in just a second.
Yes, he falls all the way to the back of the GT4 field. Let's see what happened, Larry.
Okay, he's down the inside. I was just seeing who he's alongside. And that was Chad Sebring. He was alongside Sebring. Also slid a little bit. There was some contact through the corner, but Mora took the worst of it.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be a surprise there as that is now under review by the stewards.
Be interesting how they look at that one, because they were side by side all along the way, and I didn't see anything blatantly dive bombing or anything, but we'll see what the stewards have to say about it. They generally frown upon any sort of contact. But take a look at this, though, as it looks like Dragotta now has gotten ahead of Bennett, dropping Bennett to 3rd.
Yeah, and all the while we see where Violet's starting to move away a little bit. Let's take a look and see how the pass happened, Larry.
Yeah, okay, that BMW might have some legs. As Bennett there in the Porsche is just on a bit of a struggle here early in the race. In fact, it's the tires that are letting them down right now for Bennett.
And and Bennett's had some of these issues on the opening laps, Larry, where we noticed that obviously at Road Atlanta he had an off. I think on lap 1 or lap 2. It's been a challenge for him early on in some of these races, and he's had to, in this point he only gives up 1 position, but there have been points at points in the season where he has had to work his way back up from almost the back of the GT4 field early on, and it's affected his starts for race number 2.
So far, so good for him as he's got it, but he does have a good little fight going on. But as we take a look at the LMP3s, we've got one now down the pits. That's Bobby Childs coming in.
And Larry, this will be a very early pit stop in a series that doesn't require pit stops. So
I'm wondering if he forgot to refuel at the end of qualifying. Often that happens.
Yeah.
between your qualifying run and your race run. That's unfortunate for Bobby.
And I think that happened earlier this season to Bobby as well, Larry, if I recall. Now, I can't remember if it was in this series or if it was in the World Challenge, but I'm fairly certain it was in this series.
This is the battle for the lead in AM. That's Lucas Dragotta and John Sterling going side by. Actually, it's Alex Brown going side by side with Lucas, but Sterling, of course, Brown's teammate, right in front of him. So Lucas kind of sandwiched between the Eagle Beavers here, fighting for position.
And Larry, big development here is Adam Johnson, who's running second in class. He has a big off here. Let's see what happened to him.
Oh, he's in the tires. The tires out in the grass there, coming to the Degner. He just can't quite hang on to it. Now he's going to have to fall back. Lucky for him, didn't hit anything. But you could just see coming into the braking area, just dragging the left tires into that grass. Oh, and that is Lyndon Swaby from Sector 5 on the wall and in the pits. Let's keep our eye on Swaby here as he goes down into the first corner. Good so far, but I don't think he expected to see that Labano on the outside.
I think that was Chuck Labano's Mercedes there on the outside, who had also looked like he might have gone off going through turn 1.
Labano was off, even before Swaby got there. So Labano here alongside. He just gets into it with. Quite catch which number that was. If it was Maxwell.
I think that was. I was just going to say. I think that was Dale Maxwell, who also lost a couple positions there. Oh, turn
Peyton
1
involved in this.
Turn 1, lap 2.
He's into the inside of Schwenke. And at this point, that almost looked a little bit like neck code. I didn't think there was that much contact between them. And Schwenke normally leaves room. Wow.
So that leaves us with Peyton and Swaby still on the pit lane.
Yeah.
And it's going to give our stewards a lot to look at here this evening. And of course, Larry, our stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
All right, so we do have a ruling, it looked like, on one of those incidents. This would have been the one involving Leo Mora, and they're going to assign a 10-second post-race penalty to Leo for his contact there with the 199 of Chad Sebring, and that was the one we saw Mora spinning out down at Spoon Curve.
Yeah.
They're taking a look at a few others, as you'd expect. We'll let you know the rulings on those as they come in.
As we track Travis Schwenke and Alex Brown, currently running 9th and 10th in Pro. All right, Larry, let's take a look here. This is a nice big train forming up behind Dan Carrillo in the number 40 GT4 Pro Porsche. He's got Chris Thorben, Robert Schwenkler, Mike Dam all directly behind.
Yeah, he's lost touch a little bit with the front two out in front of him. Or front three, I should say.
Front three.
Yeah, and with Violet and Tragoda and Bennett out there. Frito here. Maybe, I wonder if he's having a similar issue with early race grip that perhaps we had seen Bennett having in the Porsche. Leading to this train here behind him with Thorman and Schwenkler and Dan. As Schwenkler, did he get a course cut or something? He's definitely fading back a little bit there. We know this is one of those tracks you can certainly pick up a lot of off tracks. I don't know how many course cuts there are unless he really cut the apex there at the hairpin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think there are many course cuts that you can find here. Tons of off tracks that I think are possible, and we've seen a number of racers run very wide through some of these corners.
I would expect if you're going to get a slowdown, it'd be a hard cut, perhaps at the Casio Triangle or one of those places. Other than that, this is a pretty flowy place. Not a lot of places where you would catch too much. But you can see here, even good onboard here as we're on board with John Sterling. You can see how much of the curbing they're using through the triangle. Look at Schwenkler struggling there with the exit curving right in front of him. That's quite a train, though, behind Dan Carrito.
And stepping out for a moment is Schwenkler in the McLaren, and I think it's been pretty much agreed upon here this week in testing that at least as far as straight line speed, and at least we said that, you know, the draft isn't going to help you much and passing is going to be at a premium here, you know, but in a straight line, the McLarens seem to have a little bit of an advantage over most of the other chassis and just the way they put the power down through some of these decreasing radius corners. So we'll continue to watch that and see how Hartley deals with it, but for the moment, I think Hartley's opened up a tiny bit of a gap back to Schwenkler as we jump back up to our leader, Violet.
Yeah, there's only two in the field. Schwenkler's in one of them. Stephen May is in the other. So we'll see if that's an advantage for either one of them. Obviously, May in the fight there for a potential podium in the AM class, and of course Schwenkler would like to get himself up in the fight here in the pro class. But I tell you, the fight right now is these two. It's Leo Dragotta and Eric Violetta. A pretty good battle going on. Leo looks aggressive.
And so Violet with his fastest time so far, and again early on, we're only working lap number 5 of a 2:09.60, which he just set last lap, about a full second off of the fastest lap time that he set during practice this week, where he was the fastest of the GT4 drivers. He did admit, though, that he had the feeling that the Orion guys were, many of them were, you know, obviously not testing here for the very first time, but it looked like they were doing a lot more setup work on the car, not really testing any fast runs.
Well, one of those Orion guys
having an issue, Larry.
Yeah, who is that? Is that him? There he goes, or is
yes.
that looked like a Klimovich actually?
There are a couple of issues with Porsches on that last sequence, Larry. And yeah, I think you're right. I think David Klimovich just got caught up as well.
And a Rob Hartley going slow down the front straight. So let's see there's Carrito in his at the front of that train. He just gets out into that rough curbing and AstroTurf, and he hits the wall by himself. But let's see what happens behind him. Carrito staying out of the way, and that looks like in front of him, Klimovich just struggling for the braking point. And went right by.
Now we'll jump over. This is Mike Dam, just as he was trying to, I think, avoid Carrito,
Dam was
and
able,
then he goes off. But
yeah, he was at least able to keep it together. But here's Klimovich. Watch him just miss the braking point with this train checking up in front of him. And he says, I would rather miss everybody and take a course cut than anything else. A good move for David.
Yes.
We appreciate, so did the 5 cars in front of him. Appreciate him avoiding them. That would have been quite the wreck.
All right, Larry, while we were watching that, we had a number of adjudications take place on some of the previous incidents. The only one that I caught was, I think it was the 34 car. Chuck Lobano getting a drive-through penalty. And I guess for that incident we had earlier.
And give you a couple of the other ones as well. We had Travis Schwenke being given a drive-through penalty for his instance with the 167 of Lyndon Swaby. That was that turn 1 or turn 2 incident we saw. And then there was also ruling on the car 60 of Chris Thorman being given responsibility as well.
Let's see here, because I'm showing Schwenke now on the pit lane.
Oh, there's Schwenke running wide. I wonder if he's having a potential sim issue?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, you start losing like your force feedback or something like that, and it just becomes so difficult to drive, it's not worth being in a close, tight race like this. Hopefully we'll see him in the second half tonight.
All right, let's jump back up, Larry, to our LMP2 race as we're currently watching now. This is the fight for third with Adam Johnson and Jim Pfeiffer as they're coming into a lot of GT4 traffic.
Yeah, that's Dale Maxwell. I think that they were just trying to get around there, and it may have separated for the moment Johnson and Pfeiffer. So Johnson doing a good job of staying out of that. Now Johnson, of course, in this position because he had that bit of an off earlier of his own doing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's more news on Bobby Childs. Get back into the pits in a potential violent way. Well, that's a wide line, and that's a big bump. Who knew that was out there at the spoon curve?
Well, you know, talking to Eric Violet, he thought that some of the bumps were going to be somewhat problematic, but he was thinking more along the lines of the one at the Degner curve.
But right out here, right there in that seam where the curve starts at the end of that AstroTurf strip, who knew that was down there? That's a bent spoon at this point.
Wow.
That thing's going to leave some damage. That's a tough way to go out. That's never good. All right, let's check back in with these lead pack here in GT4 as Violet continues to lead over Dragotta and Bennett, but all three of them are pretty tight. This is going to be tight in the points. We'll cover the point standings probably at the break between the first and second races, but it is very tight at the top with Mike Dam, Eric Violet, and Travis Schwenke in third. We've seen Schwenke have his issues. He's out of this race as it is, but these guys here, Dragotta comes into tonight in sixth, Bennett comes in ninth, and then, of course, Eric Violet's in second tonight, trailing only Mike Dam. So this is a good position for Violet. The other guys are desperate to get points.
And backmarker Bobby Childs already in the chat. Just saying, rip me.
Oh, Bobby. Bobby, we had no idea that was there, and anybody else would have probably gone over it. Your luck is about as bad as it gets. If you didn't have any bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all. Look at Bennett, though. Making the pass. He's going to have a Schwenke to deal with.
There you go. Schwenke just stayed to the outside there. Bennett riding him all the way down into turn one. Or actually, that's Leo Dragotta, pardon me, that he was right beside there. Schwenke was coming out of the pit lane. As our overall leader, Larry, Tyler King, now looking for race win number 9, coming up right behind this pair.
Well, he's being patient, recognizing the situation. These are the three leaders in the GT4 category. And there's Bennett going off behind Leo Dragotta. Have to see if there was contact there that led to that. He's flashing his lights like
the headlights, Larry. I'm
betting
he thinks there was.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay on that one in a second. I know it was close. He had a nose ahead. You can see the nose ahead of Dragotta here. Let's see if there's a little bit of a push from the front of the BMW. It's worse. It was Tyler King.
From Tyler King.
Wow. Well, we'll see if the stewards look at that, but just a light rub for King. And again, responsibility does belong to the passing car to do it cleanly. We'll see if the stewards see it the same way as Bennett is already in the chat. I won't bother repeating what he's saying.
Oh, boy.
We'll see how that goes. He does drop only to fourth. He does lose a spot there. I think. Maybe he actually might still be in third, but pretty far back. Warning being given to drivers for perhaps comments made in the chat even. That's the league doesn't really like that too much. I won't tell you which driver it was, but you might be able to guess. As look at this. Brown now trying to make a move on Lucas Dragotta in the similar Mercedes. They might be even bumping a little bit through the triangle. See Bobby in the chat making his ruling if he had a say on the instance between King and Bennett.
I don't know. I stopped reading Bobby when he started talking about his bladder issues. So.
Hey, if he's got bladder issues, these short sprint races, inverted starts are the best. It gives you a break between. I'm just saying, ask me how I know.
I mean, he was talking about not being filled up. It sounded like he was.
All right, we're going to check in with David Klimovich, who had done that great job avoiding the pack earlier. Has caught back up. That's Jeff Jacobs there in front of him, Neil Weston and another Porsche right behind him. Klimovich running currently third in the GT4 AM. In front of him is that Lucas Dragotta battle with the Eagle Beavers. So if he can get back up there in the next couple of minutes, maybe he can make a push here, but he's got Weston behind him. Twinkler with a train of Orions behind him with Hartley and Dam.
Yeah, let's see if he can pull if he can pull Hartley and Dam up to Chris Thorman, Thorman's not that far ahead. He's about a second and a half up the road. And remember Schwenkler was a little bit further back in this group here. This was the group that had been led by Dan Carrillo before he had his off.
One thing we have not talked about yet is the fact that these are 2 sprint races again tonight, 35 minutes apiece. We're about 20 minutes through the first 35 minutes. The second race, we will be using the grid order as the results of the first race, with the exception of a top 10 in GT4 will be inverted, and I believe top half of LMP2 gets inverted. So just checking in, top 10, I believe, is it Lucas Dragotta or is it Alex Brown?
I think Alex Brown is number 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
He's running 8th in pro,
And then he's
with
got
Sterling and
Lucas.
Dragotta just ahead of him, our 2 leaders in AM.
Yeah, so with the inverted second race start, that would put Alex Brown on pole for the second race. A lot of things, as we've seen recently in this series, a lot of things can change in the last 15 minutes of the first race.
And as we've got about 15 minutes remaining in our first race, Tyler King just throws down a new fast lap in his Ligier, a 154.58. He's now got, about 2.5 seconds, a little bit less than 2.5 seconds over Josh Vidal. And appears to be, at least for the time being, good amount of open track ahead of him.
Well, remember we talked to Josh pre-race, and he said you just don't want to let Tyler get too big of a lead. 2.5 seconds is still doable for Josh to be able to catch him, especially with another run coming through the pack here of GT4 shortly. But Josh probably needs to stay close and potentially be aggressive through traffic on his own to have a shot to get up to the back of Tyler. Hey, those BMWs look like they stick really well to that spoon curve.
Oh gosh, yes, they do.
But as we've been told, that McLaren seems to be just fine on the straights.
Well, and there you go, Larry. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much. It's only about, I don't know, 3, maybe 2 car lengths, but they were right on his bumper.
That is the most frustrating way if you're in those BMWs, because you think you got him, you go through the corners, you're right on his tail, and then they get to the straightaway, and you just can't do anything about it. Oh, look at that, though. Schwenkler running a little wider than the BMWs, though. Still, BMWs can't touch him.
Yeah, and in talking to Violet during the week, I think a lot of the racers were still trying to figure out, as you mentioned, the curbing will send you flying, trying to figure out the Casio triangle there, those last 3 corners that lead you onto the front straight. We'll probably see many, many different lines there, as seemingly almost every single one gets you an off track.
Yeah. Yeah, he just said, and none of the fast ones seem to be what you want. So you have to give it up somewhere to be able to get on through, and we'll see how the drivers choose to navigate tonight and see who ends up racking up the most off tracks. We don't have an official count on anybody. I've got an unofficial count. This is one driver at least has exceeded 10, but not the easiest track to stay clean and pick up those bonus points.
So good run, and a good recovery so far, Larry. Or was it David Klimovich who had that run through the grass earlier?
Yep.
Under braking? Yeah, indeed. And he's had a good recovery, just trying to find a way to get around the BMW.
This is Johnson in the pits.
Yeah, this is a surprise. Remember, Johnson started second here this evening, I believe, and had fallen back as he's coming down the pit lane. And he's dropping into his box, and
start to wonder another one of these fuel potential issues. But there's been no penalties given to him. This isn't any sort of a steward's thing. This is on his own of whatever he's got going.
Well,
but going back to this battle,
it wasn't a long stop, Larry. He was only in his pit stall for about 7 minutes. He's back out. But then again, there are only about about 11 minutes left in the race. Probably didn't need that much fuel.
Look at this though. Is David Klimovich going to make the move on the inside of Jacobs? Jacobs nearly gets into the back of him and has to back out, and that might be enough for Weston to go by. But Klimovich looked like he might have been getting frustrated back there. His pace had fallen off for a couple of laps. He was losing pace in front of him with Lucas Dragotta, and that right there might be exactly what both of those Porsche drivers needed. It's not over, though.
Looks like he's still trying to loosen him up a little bit.
It's not over. Maybe at this point, finally, there's an opportunity for the Porsches to make the run down the front straightaway that the Travis Schwenke you see there is a lap down. So he's there, but not really in this fight. We'll see now if Klimovich can lay a couple laps in. We're coming up on 10 minutes to go in this first sprint. See with the pending LMP3 run coming through this field. Look at this as the Schwenkler train continues to grow.
Yeah, and look at this as we now have John Sterling in the 261 Eagle Beaver.
And he's not alone.
Mercedes, he's there as well.
He's got Lucas Dragotta and Alex Brown, both pretty close behind him as well. So this 4-car train is now going to be turning into a 7-car, if I got my math right. 6-car. Just wondering who gets aggressive here. Who wants that top 5 and take it away from Schwenkler? Points at our premium this season.
Indeed they are. Now the question is, Larry, is John Sterling still leads Lucas Dragotta there for the lead in AM, whether or not they're going to get backed up a little bit by the 2 BMWs trying to get around Schwenkler.
Someone might just stay close enough to make a move. We'll see. All it takes is one bad corner exit for Schwenkler, and there could easily be a BMW up alongside of him. But look at that train, all 6 of them. Mercedes, they do look strong tonight.
Did you notice Alex Brown flashing the headlights at Lucas Dragotta? Trying to distract, and again, you know, Alex is running 8th in pro. Certainly, he wants to get up to Dam and Hartley ahead of the 2 AM drivers. But I'm sure anything that he can do to distract Lucas Dragotta.
I don't know how old Alex Brown is, but I know Lucas Dragotta is a young man, and I would not try to distract a young man with flashing lights, because they just play on their devices all the time. They're used to flashing lights. You're not going to break their concentration there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of wiggles, a little bit of wobbles, but you keep fighting. This train Mercedes, all 3 of these look pretty good. This
right here is normally, as they come out of here, this is normally where the McLaren will start to open up the gap.
Yeah, but those BMWs through the S's, all the way through the Degner, all the way into the hairpin, seem to have an advantage. It's coming out of the hairpin. That seems to be where the McLaren's. But look at this. Look at the pressure that Hartley's applying. Trying to do everything he can. He's diamonding off corners to get power down to maybe make a run. See if that pays off. Not enough. McLaren is definitely able to put power down quick. But we know how good those BMWs have been tonight through this long decreasing twin curve. And again, look at him, just close that up. He's right up almost inside of the deck lid. Got to be so frustrating. Also, just keeping a close eye on that Vidal-King gap, as it's now under 1.8 seconds. Remember, that was about 3 seconds before.
3 seconds before, yeah.
Yeah.
And you see him there in the shot. He's got a couple of GT4 cars to navigate past. He'll come into the shot. There he is, coming down the inside.
He's going to use a couple of them for some draft here, and King is going to catch the others right as he goes into the Casio triangle. This could actually help Vidal if he can get past this one more before he breaks into the triangle himself. He's going to use that wide line. That's
go all the way around the outside. I'd take the off track for that one.
That is definitely a dangerous call, but he makes it stick, because there's a lot of bumps and a lot of slips out there with that piece of AstroTurf on the ground. Josh giving everything he's got.
It looked like a little bit of hesitation there, Larry.
That was Stephen May. This should be Maxwell.
Oh.
And he gets caught in a bad spot, does Vidal. Follows Maxwell all the way to the outside instead of planning his move to the inside. Look at this. Hartley may have an opportunity. Who can get down to the hairpin first? Hartley might have it.
And it looks like Dam's going to try and freight train him as well as they come in. Cannot get around the outside. But, oh, and look at this.
Hartley
Schwenkler just gets pushed to the outside.
Yeah. Now it's car position, but good job there for Hartley to get by. But now Dam not able to. Look at the power in that McLaren. But can the McLaren stick on that inside line?
Oh, and look at this move right behind him, Larry, as we have Lucas Dragota going underneath John Sterling to take over the lead in AM. What a move.
That's an opportunistic right there. Seeing what's going on in front of him, and the Eagle Beaver backed out. Lucas said, I'll take that, thanks. Huge move there in the AM for the lead. 5 minutes to go. Look at now as Dam now is going to try to make the move, try to outbrake him going into Casio. Whoa. Look at the bumps on the curbs of the BMW. He's up on 2 wheels.
And Schwenkler made it stick, and now look at Dragota. Dragota's going to try to come down the inside and catch a whiff of draft off that.
Let's look at this pass here for Dragota now as he comes up towards Spoon Curve. He's got that Eagle Beaver, Sterling in front of him, and Sterling just fell asleep for a second.
Yeah, it's like Sterling just decided he just left the door open, decided not to go down to the apex, and by the time he was ready to turn in, Dragota was already alongside him.
I think he may have been Sterling was too preoccupied with the bunch in front of him that he kind of lost an opportunity. But look at this now as Dam gets shuffled back, and now Lucas Dragota's in front of him. Look at Lucas here late in the race making 2 passes in less than a lap. Can he make the next one? Can he do to Schwenkler what we saw Hartley do?
Let's take a look at this, Larry, as they... And a little wiggle there. I think Dam thought that perhaps he was going to go to the inside and then found Dragota right beside him.
Yeah. And Lucas, good job here just staying, knowing he's got this decreasing radius first turn coming up. And I tell you what, that Mercedes has got some legs too. It's up there with the McLaren. And if anyone's going to get by a McLaren or Schwenkler, it just might be a Mercedes. As the leader, I told you Vidal was going to cut it, and he has. He's 3/10. He's right on the tail now of Tyler King. There's your time deltas.
As they're coming up on the back of Schwenke right there. Schwenke's going to...
That's Hartley.
Is that Rob Hartley?
Yeah, that's Hartley at the front of this train. So he's got Lucas Dragota right at the back of these two.
Okay.
As we look out the back of King at the front of Josh Vidal going up into Casio now. Vidal wants to probably get good on the brakes. Should probably have 2 laps to go, I suspect.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be at about 33 minutes elapsed as they come to the line. So we should have this and possibly 1 more lap.
All right, so keep your eye on Schwenkler. He's already got a Mercedes in his mirrors. Big time. Lucas Dragota is the aggressor here. Your AM leader once more.
And we've said it before, Larry, even though we've got our AM and Pro classes here, the GT4 racers, they pick up points based on their total finishing position within GT4. So the more positions that Lucas Dragota can pick up, the more points he's going to acquire in trying to open up the lead that he has on Dale Maxwell, which is currently sitting at 68 points.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm watching this, and Lucas is closer to the back of Schwenkler than I think most of the times we saw Hartley back there. Lucas knows where he's quicker, and he knows, I don't think he's got a disadvantage on the straightaways like the BMWs did. See if Lucas can get a good run here around these double right-handers and maybe get a chase into the hairpin. He's got a good run here. It's going to be enough, but he's going to close the gap.
As they come down into the hairpin, he tries to poke inside underneath the McLaren. The McLaren with a little bit of wheel slippage there, Larry, from the rear, trying to power out of the hairpin, and that might be an advantage for the Mercedes.
The race leader King, 1.5 times away from winning this thing, but he's going to have to hold off Josh Vidal. But he does have a little bit more of a gap now that they've gotten through that traffic. But there's a few more cars still ahead. I'd say that might be a Thorman ahead of them.
Vidal looked like he was almost going to put his Ligier on its roof there. He took so much curbing going through the Casio triangle.
All right, that should be white flag.
Yep, white flag is in the air. There's Barney waving it sort of kind of there in the glass.
Look at this. Again, a lot of curve there for Schwenkler coming out of the triangle. Lucas, he's going to stick to the bumper.
Yeah, and Dam thought perhaps he'd do what Lucas had done 2 laps earlier, Larry, but Dam had so many issues getting through the triangle there with his BMW, the rear end just moving from side to side after bumping on the curbing.
Yeah, well, while this is going on, so is this. I was going to say Vidal has closed up once more on Tyler King, less than half a second between them. So down through the Degner, one more trip through the hairpin. In cars without ABS, and I always struggle in these cars. They lock up on me all the time, especially when you're being pressured. King did a good job of withstanding that pressure. Vidal's going to keep applying. More time through Spoon. Oh, just the big slide there for Vidal in the background.
I was going to say Vidal pushing a little bit too hard there as they come down into the 130R for the last time.
There is an incident currently under review, but I'll get to that in a second because this isn't over.
Well, it is now, Larry, as they come onto the front straight, and Tyler King is going to take the win in LMP2. Josh Vidal will finish second.
Stewards are taking a look at a couple things. Lucas, I wonder if he's out of fuel. Let's see here as he's in this fight. He had lost Schwenkler out in front of him, but he certainly still has Dam behind him as they come through Spoon. And that's a big slide for Lucas. His tires might have been going away more than anything, and he's going to lose a couple positions.
Yeah, so that's going to move John Sterling to the lead in AM, Larry.
Yeah, it is. All right, real quick before we get to the finishers there, as this pack is crossing the finish line, we're going to have a penalty on Josh Vidal. We saw him just finish second to Tyler King in the LMP3s. Vidal, incident responsibility in contact with Peyton. And that's going to be a 30-second post-race penalty to Josh Vidal.
Oh, my.
I don't know. It's going to be close because I think Pfeiffer was, see on the screen there's only 24 seconds back. So that actually might push Vidal to third.
And
fourth.
I think that's likely why the extent of that penalty was to ensure that he was docked at least one position.
Yeah. All right. Well, these guys are done here. And
yeah, let's see if we can pick up and see exactly what happened between Vidal and Peyton. And we see there's Tyler King, your leader, gets around the Aston Martin. Oh, just the lightest of taps.
Yeah, it wasn't much, but just didn't leave a ton of room there.
All right, well, that wraps things up. Let's see, John, can we bring up the finishing order here as we kind of jumped away to take care and look at that penalty? But taking the win in LMP2 is going to be, let's see if we can get up there, Tyler King. We're going to say that Jim Pfeiffer will finish second, with Adam Johnson finishing in third based on the time penalty assigned to Josh Vidal, who finished fourth, with Marlon Jones in fifth. In GT4 Pro, Eric Violette from D2D takes the win over Leo Dragotta, with Brian Bennett finishing third, Chris Thorman finishing just off the podium there in fourth position, pardon me. And in GT4 AM, John Sterling gathers it up and takes the win on the last lap for Eagle Beavers. Lucas Dragotta manages to hold on to second in AM, with Neil Weston finishing in third. Tom Jenkins from Midfield Motorsports finishing just off the podium in fourth. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to watch the big dance on the front straight here, Larry, as our drivers get girded up for race number 2 here at Suzuka, where you're watching round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Suzuka International Circuit. Or, pardon me, it's the Suzuka International Racecourse. My apologies. It is round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's Brian. Larry Lefty McLeod. And, and of course, Larry, we should mention that our title sponsor, Ricmotech here, is featuring the miniMite Direct Drive System, in which I might actually be able to speak about cogently at some point, but want to thank them once again, as they are the title sponsor for all of our Ricmotech obviously series here on Extreme Motorsports Racing.
I was just watching a little bit as we had the camera on Bobby for a second. He's out testing the curbing down there at Spoon. I am not kidding. He was in Spoon. He was hunting for the bad curbs. I swear that's what he was doing. I would too if a curb comes out. I hope he brought
his Depends, Larry.
If a curb bites you one race, don't get bit twice. Good old back marker, Bob. All right, so at some point, we will talk about the race number 2 starting grid. But we've got another... Actually, they're about ending. They're about to go to grid. We're going to have to cover the point standings here soon. But let's start looking at what this grid just might look like.
All right.
I think I know how the top 10 will invert in GT4.
All right, hit me.
All right. Based on the finishing order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alex Brown should be our pole sitter here in race number 2. He'll be alongside Robert Schwenkler. Row 2 should be Chris. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. It should be Alex Brown, John Sterling, And
Chris
then on
Thorman.
row 2, Mike Dam and Robert Schwenkler.
Okay.
Rob Hartley, Chris Thorman. Gotta make sure I got this right. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I actually might be off by 1. It might be Lucas Dragotta as your race 2 pole sitter alongside Alex Brown. Then Sterling and Dam on row 2. Schwenkler and Hartley on row 3. Chris Thorman, Brian Bennett on row 4. Leo Dragotta, Eric
And
Violet,
Eric Violet would make up row 5, exactly. And then back behind them, we would have Lucas Dragotta and Jeff Jacobs, Neil West and Tom Jenkins, David Klimovich, Leo Mora, and that's about as far back as I'm going to go from there. In LMP2, again, when we do the invert of the top 50%, I think, and we saw this 2 weeks ago, Larry, that they don't include that time penalty towards the invert. So I think what we're going to see is Adam Johnson on the pole.
I see Johnson moving at least, so we'll see if it's going to
Yeah.
be him taking the pole position. I think it is.
And so the question is, and so I think that Marlon, well, it's the top 50%, so it should be I think the top 3 drivers. So yeah, so what you're seeing there is Josh Vidal, I think Tyler King, and Adam Johnson. We'll see what the final starting order is there, but okay, here we go. Okay.
They're
So it's
sorting it out.
Jim Pfeiffer is going to be your pole sitter for LMP2 with Josh Vidal. So apparently including that 30-second time penalty, he's going to start on the outside of the front row. Tyler King, who was our winner from race 1, he's going to start on the inside of row number 2 with Adam Johnson beside him. Actually, yeah, I think with Adam Johnson beside him. And then we've got Marlon Jones and Bobby Childs.
Sounds
that
about
will
right.
start back from there.
There you go. All right. Well, this will be a very interesting start there with
Indeed.
Pfeiffer on the pole there for race number 2. And then so here at the GT4s, they start queuing up. I do believe it should be Lucas Dragotta should be your pole sitter based on that finishing temp. Not where he
Yes.
wanted to finish. The big slide there on that last lap set him back a little bit. But there in the shot, you can see Lucas.
There he
heading out.
goes, with Alex Brown starting next to him. So we're going to let them go and grid up, Larry. In the meantime, let's take a look at where the point standings are across our 3 different classes. In LMP2, in the Ligiers, as we mentioned earlier, Tyler King, who was our winner from race number 1, that was his 9th race win of the season. We've only got 2 other racers who've taken wins, and that's Josh Vidal with 1 and Bobby Childs with 1. And right now, Tyler King, running for Air Kinetics, has a 19-point advantage over Josh Vidal. There were no changes in the top 4 in the standings there coming out of our last round at Magny Core. We did have Adam Johnson, who I think missed the first 2 rounds of the championship, move up from 7th to 5th.
Yeah, keep in mind that the standings we got on the screen, that was before the first race tonight.
Correct.
So things could change, as we just saw with the final standings for the first race would put Pfeiffer ahead of, and Adam Johnson, I believe, ahead of Vidal. Those points changes haven't taken effect yet. But
Right. All right, let's look over at, look at GT4 Pro, Larry, where Mike Dam, currently your points leader, coming into this evening with only a 5-point advantage over Eric Violet. And I think at the moment, based on the first race tonight, that probably has changed. Travis Schwenke sitting another 8 points back in 3rd, with Alex Brown another 12 points back from there, 25 points out of the championship in 4th. And the big gainer last week, actually 2 of them were Robert Schwenkler and Leo Dragotta. Schwenkler moved from 8th to 5th, and Leo Dragotta moved from 10th to 6th, based on their finishes at Magny Core.
He's scoring in the first round tonight, as well as Bennett being 2nd and 3rd could help their cause. Let's do the AM standings in a few minutes here as we've got the start of the race happening.
All right, sounds good. As Our front row in LMP2 come through the Casio Triangle. I keep wanting to call it the Casino Triangle for some reason.
It's a gamble.
It's almost like going to Monte Carlo. And green flag is in the air for our LMP2 racers, and we are back underway with Pfeiffer there in that yellow and blue Sector 5 machine trying to hold off now Tyler King, who moves to the inside. King gets around Josh Vidal there on the start. It's going to slot in the second spot. Has to hold up and check up just a little bit as they go through the first turn. Can't get around Jim Pfeiffer there, but already Tyler King looking pretty racy as our GT4 racers now take the green flag, and it is Alex Brown and Lucas Dragota on the front row. Dragota to the inside in his Mercedes, Brown to the outside in his Mercedes, and look at the run that Dragota gets out of the first turn there as Brown got a little bit of a challenge there from Mike Damps. May have slowed him up just a little bit, Larry.
Sterling struggling in the back there a little bit. He had gone alongside with a couple of folks. He's going to fade back a little bit, allowing, I think it was Bennett and maybe even Lucas to get in front of, let's say, Leo. And Bobby Childs already in the gravel here on the opening lap of race number 2. I'm sure that expression is the exact one he's got on his face right now. It's a live shot. And then again, Sterling, I think. Is that Sterling spun? That's Brown.
That's Alex Brown, who is off the pace there, trying to get the car back underway. And another driver there in the wall, Larry. Let's see who that is. I think that's Brian Steele in the number 7 Porsche. As Jenkins off now as well.
I wonder if a lot of this is that cold tire issues. Cars are loose. Neil Weston looks like he may have been slow in that pack as well. But let's take a look at this. Let's check the replay on Bobby first. It's just not enough brakes, and that's a whole lot of bumping through the gravel and a bumping into the wall for Bobby.
All right, let's jump over and take a look and see what happened with Neil Weston's Porsche, the number 6 car.
In the back of Violet, I think he just had to check up to keep getting into him,
and took a whole bunch of curbing.
He managed to stay out of the wall at least and managed to avoid any contact. And let's take a look at Alex Brown as he was in second to start this race. And that's a slide. That's continuing to slide, and that's just a big old 360. Somehow the pack goes by without hitting him. That's impressive.
And so, Larry, as we're about halfway through lap number 2, Jim Pfeiffer still your leader in LMP2, and if it sounds like I'm a little surprised, I'm a little surprised. Oh, and Robert Schwenkler now off as well.
That would be the first turn with Sterling. Let's see if we can catch Schwenkler going into turn 1. And he just lost it all on his own and slid to the outside. Again, that cold tires.
And we saw that. We saw that in race 1 also, Larry. That a lot of drivers getting caught out at the first turn on cold tires in the first 2 laps.
All right. Well, let's see. Look at this. Vidal trying to make the move on King. That's a gutsy move. Didn't quite pay off, but he still survives to tell the story. Almost didn't if he would have continued to stick his nose in there. See if Pfeiffer can hold off King, or is King potentially running even less downforce than Pfeiffer?
You know, it's a possibility there as Pfeiffer just did not, King just did not seem to have the ability to make up even an inch on Pfeiffer there on the front straight.
Well, he certainly is quick here through the S's. Well, this might help a little bit for Vidal. He made that move, didn't make it stick, fell back, but maybe if his pace is equal to Pfeiffer's, he could use this this opportunity of King stuck behind Pfeiffer to maybe move back up and catch up to them and possibly bringing Adam Johnson with him.
I was just going to say, and that's under the assumption that Adam Johnson doesn't foil that plan for him, because Johnson's had been pulling up alongside a couple of times until he just ran a little wide a couple corners ago.
All right, again out of the hairpin.
Some issues in the Deckers.
Yeah, let's see if Pfeiffer can hold this through Spoon Curve. Much room between then. King seems to be content to try and make this draft pass here on the back straight. I'm sure he's going to be able to. Pfeiffer looks pretty quick in a straight line.
Although that might be the opportunity that he needs right there, Larry. Yeah, as he just Pfeiffer just opened the door.
Yeah, at that point,
as they came out of 130R going into the triangle.
At that point, definitely a good opportunity for King to make that move, knowing probably the confidence that King has under braking, able to make that payoff. But look at this, Strigota now with Mike Dam.
Mike
Dam, right behind him.
Dam and Bennett.
Yep.
And congratulations to Brian Bennett. He has made it through the first 2 laps without having tire issues.
And that's a good start there, because remember, he would have started this race back in 8th. But look at Lucas, that wide line. How long can he get away with that through the middle of Spoon? But Bennett, starting back in 8th in this race, has made up a lot of ground here on these front 2. Mercedes seems to have no problem making straightaway speed. But I think that BMW just looks more stable through some of these transitions. It could stick this time for Dam, but it just looks, although it goes on 2 wheels and bicycles a little bit, it seems to not twitch while it's doing it.
No, I was just going to say, it looks like it rotates around the that outside front tire just a little bit when it goes 2 wheels in the air and just comes down and straightens out right away.
It just doesn't have the straight line speed that we've seen out of the other ones. Even the Porsche seems to be a little more straight line than these BMWs.
All right, let's jump back in with Robert Schwenkel, who had issues earlier on in this race. We saw him at turn 1. Oh!
Well, there you go. His issues were a blocked track.
And based on the paint job there, Larry, I think that was that the Mercedes of Sebring?
Could be. And you guess one way, you try to guess the other way, and unfortunately for Schwenkler, there was nowhere to go. Should end his night pretty quick. So I'll be curious here with the way this train is working out. You got Leo, who had pretty good pace in the first race, now with a couple of teammates with him. Hartley is leading the charge to catch back up to the front 3. So now we got Jagoda 1st and 5th in that opening train. This one's struggling a little bit, as it looks like, is that Violet or is that Thorman?
Chris Thorman.
Yeah,
Chris
good
Thorman
move for
the number
Thorman.
60 machine.
Yeah, it's Violet further back still to come. Race 1 winner, still struggling to get by some of this train.
There's Violet there right behind the Eagle Beaver machine.
It shows you the amount of time that Leo lost. Remember, he was right on the back of Hartley there to make this front train of 5 cars, and now he's not only giving up a spot, he gave up a lot of track room. Well, his brother Lucas does what he does out in the front.
As we jump back over to LMP2, and this is now the battle for second, as Tyler King has already now opened up a 2-second advantage. See there, as he is making his way into 130R. But Jim Pfeiffer now under a bit of attack from Josh Vidal, as Vidal is going to take a look to the inside going down into the Casio triangle. And Larry, that's the
Wow.
exact same move that Tyler King
It is.
put on Pfeiffer just 2 laps previous.
Yeah, for Pfeiffer, it's deja vu all over again. Has to watch both of these guys. He may start thinking about that braking point and saying, man, these guys are killing me under the brakes. Now he's going to see if Adam Johnson tries to make it 3 for 3 next time around.
Well, I mean, it's a question of the brakes, but it's also a question there of car positioning as well, Larry.
Yeah.
As he keeps that car all the way driver's left, trying to open up the entrance to turn 15 into the first right-hander in the triangle, and he's allowing cars to come underneath him all day long.
He does, but those other guys are getting a run, and they're willing to take that stab because they're able to outbrake him. And I think if you can outbrake your competition and you're already a car length ahead, you should be able to do it on the racing line and not fearful of getting dive bombed. Yeah, these guys are just braking so much later right now than Pfeiffer is. That's one of those learning moments. You go, well, you know what? Is my brake bias right? Is my setup right? What's going on? Why are they braking a whole signboard later than I am? We go on board with Brian Bennett, trying to chase down Mike Dam. Well, Bennett's got work to do here, but he's also got some seekers behind him that would like to get on by in the name of Hartley and Thorman, and then finally Leo Dragotta and Eric Violet.
And meanwhile, there's John Sterling, who was your winner from race number 1.
Now we're starting to see the whole draft train here. Bennett looking impatient. Bennett thinking he could chase down Dragotta better than a BMW. And given his pace here, he might be right. All right, so we've got a review ongoing, and that would be the 40 of Dan Carrito and the 21 of David Klimovich. It's Porsche on Porsche violence, apparently, that we're reviewing. We'll see who they decide.
Carrito now finds himself back in the pits, Larry. Let's take a look. There we go. There's Carrito. Just ahead of him is Klimovich, as Jeff Jacobs was in the grass, came all the way back over.
And Klimovich was off for a second and came back on, but I think Klimovich thought he still had room, and Carrito underneath him slid all the way through him to the wall. And that probably is why Carrito's in the pits.
Oh, look at Bennett. Getting a lot of curbing there. You said it, Larry. He's getting very impatient with Mike Dam at this point.
This is full wasabi spicy going on right now. He wants that move. Oh, that's David Payton.
David Payton.
That's an aggressive move down the inside by Leo
Was
Mora.
that Leo Mora?
It is. As Klimovich has stopped in that for a second, and he gets going again. But that was an aggressive attempt there for Mora. I think the stewards are going to look at that one as well. Yeah, they've already assigned
they've already given it to him. Yeah,
that did not
a drive-through
take
penalty for Mora.
Yeah. Well, they still look at the other incidents. That one was a pretty easy one to roll on.
And Larry, you notice there you were saying how well the BMW transitions and how well he gets out of Dam gets out of the Casio triangle, and you can see there as they come onto the front straight where Bennett seemingly loses maybe 2 to 2.5 car lengths, and he has to make it all up here once again as they come through the first turn and then head down into the S's over here.
There you go. Dam's going to try it, and Lucas is going to give him a little bit of room. Oh, nearly contact there as they come around the final of the S curves here, heading down around towards Dunlop. Look at this. And he makes it stick. Yeah, he kind of had to force his way through, but he does get by. Now let's see if Bennett tries to do a 2-for-1 on Dragotta. That was an aggressive, it was a good quality lines that Dam ran through the S's to get that run on Lucas, and he makes it stick.
And you can see there, Lucas
Oh, look
and
at
now
this.
coming down into the hairpin. Bennett's going to try to come underneath and just doesn't have the oomph to make it out of there, Larry, as he got pinned all the way down to the curbing.
That was another one of those, a little bit like we saw Mora try down the inside a moment ago. This time Bennett doesn't get into the curves, so he doesn't lose control of the car, but that was an aggressive dive bomb that he had to back out of. See if Bennett can get a run here and try to catch up to Lucas on this back straight. What I'm surprised about is your race one winner, Eric Violette, is nowhere to be seen. He's still stuck behind. I think he's down behind John Sterling.
Yeah, he's at the very back of this pack, Larry, and just hasn't been able to do anything about it. I mean, and likewise, Sterling's been towards the back of this pack as well, and his competition's sitting up in second place right now.
All right, well, your leaders in the LMP3s are starting to come through there as Vidal has caught King, and it's going to get spicy. And your leaders in GT4 are not yielding because they are side by side through one. Dam's going to have an advantage. King wants to go by. He's going to get through. Vidal's going to get stuck behind everybody. Oh, nearly contact with Mike Dam.
Almost contact with Mike Dam.
Woo.
And Larry, real quick, the incident that we saw before between Klimovich and Carrido, no action taken.
Yeah, probably a fair assessment. That would have been a tough one to call. But let's get back to this. As Jagoda and Dam have survived their side-by-side with each other as well as with each of the LMP3s. Bennett is still in this thing, and yet you still have a Jim Pfeiffer that he's knocking on the door saying,
his way through.
Yeah, he wants to get through, guys. He's going to try, and he's going to bring with him Adam Johnson. Look at this, 3 wide. That's not going to work.
Oh, no.
As Johnson causes Lucas to spin.
Lucas Dragoda now spins. And Larry, I was just talking about John Sterling wanting to get up to his competition. John Sterling now takes over the lead in AM, moves up to 6th in GT.
Watch
GT4.
this, though. All right, so there comes Pfeiffer now. And there's Bennett making the move on the inside, but then there's Johnson just doesn't hold the curb line.
No.
And so it'll be interesting. They are going to take a look at this.
So there was a little bit of contact early on, Larry, between Bennett and Dragoda. I don't think it was enough to loosen Dragoda up. Obviously, the big issue there was the LMP2 car, or probably LMP3 car, barreling his way through.
Yeah, so let's see if the stewards take a look at that. I actually heard in the chat one of the drivers involved there asking the stewards in the chat to take a look at the incident. So, yeah, it's under review now, the contact between Bennett and Johnson. Meanwhile, Bennett continues to motor on. He does stay ahead of Sterling there, but now he's behind Leo Jagoda as well as behind Chris Thornton.
And through all of that, Eric Violette is still sitting, still holding station at the end of this line in 6th in Pro.
So look in the back of that Eagle Beaver.
So, Larry, as this is going on, I don't think we did talk about the GT4 AM standings as they are. And at this point, let's just say that Lucas Dragoda has a lot to give at this point. He's got 68 points on his next competitor. That is Dale Maxwell from Slow Bros Racing, and Dale is not racing tonight. So, so I take that back. Yes, he is racing. He's in the number 111 Porsche, currently sitting 7th in AM. My apologies, Dale.
Yeah, he's not having the strongest night, but he is definitely out there.
He is there.
If he's got a good sense of humor, he might even say that he's not really racing tonight, but he is racing tonight.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know how he feels
invisible.
about it.
I don't know. So Maxwell's second, and then John Sterling was only 4 points back from there.
And Sterling has been in the fight here. So 3rd in the points coming into tonight in the middle of that battle with Maxwell. Sterling currently in the lead in the AM category now with that spin that impacted with Dragoda. So Sterling, huge opportunity here to make up some points.
Yeah.
As well
and
as,
then behind Sterling, Neil Weston and Andre Wedderburn And
Sterling got the AM lead the AM win in the first round tonight, if I'm not
correct.
mistaken. Yeah, so there's a huge night for him.
after Dragota had that spin on with a lap to go.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at this battle through the Casio. That's Hartley, followed by Thorman, and then Leo Dragota, and then Bennett. Just watching those Orion BMWs just bicycle through there like a classic BMW should, bicycling through these corners. It just reminds me of the old E30s on good sticky tires. Those things went on too. Look at this, though. Thorman's going to duck to the inside. Is he going to make it work? He does.
He does. Good move, although a little bit of fight back there from Robert Hartley and just can't get up alongside.
This is the battle for second.
I was going to say like some E30 and E36
Yeah.
M3s, or maybe an old 3.0 CS.
Ooh,
Actually,
yeah.
they were four wheels in the air.
Oh yeah, just the autocross days of a good set of sticky Hoosiers on an E30 or E36 BMW, and just watching those show you their undersides. They're always proud of them. All right, so this
Talk about undersides of BMWs and Bobby Childs with Depends. It's a good night for. Good night.
All right. Well, Bobby's teammate here, Chris Thorman, is now trying to do the D2D proud. D2D's got a win in the first round in the hands of Eric Violet. And right now, Thorman's going to try and get a podium here in the second round, but he's got a slew of Orions chasing him down. And a couple of them are aggressive, as well as Bennett, the Sector 5, pretty aggressive tonight. So Thorman's going to be sweating for the next 15 minutes if he wants this podium spot.
Josh Vidal just resets fast lap in LMP3, Larry, but now still about 4 seconds back from Tyler King, King looking for race win number 10 on the season here tonight. Mr. Goda taking a look underneath Chuck Labano.
Would be for second, and if he can make it stick. He did. Look at Schwakey.
That was beyond brave, Larry.
Not over yet.
All the way down from the inside.
It is not over, as Labano is going to hold that position through the Casio, and not anymore. Oh boy, that is extended contact there. That'll be interesting, because I couldn't tell if it slide started and he just parked himself in front of Lucas, or...
Well, let's find out, Larry. You're going to take the overhead look here as they go into 15, 16, and 17, and as they come through 16, set up for the final corner. It looks to me like Dragota had a whole bunch of curbing on the right-hand side there, just got into the left rear of Labano.
I just wonder, if Lucas couldn't go anywhere. Not my job to review them tonight.
Nope,
we'll let the stewards make that tough call.
Not our job.
Oof, that's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a real tough one. But what it does, though, is it takes Lucas and Labano back now from Sterling even further. So Sterling's lead in AM continuing to solidify.
And Larry, that also means Klim Club stand up.
Look at that. Both of them now, fourth and fifth.
David and Chris now, both with the possibility of a podium here. Is there right behind Labano?
And if there's any issues should befall Dragota or Labano in the next bit, or any penalties that are incurred, although Chris Klimovich had a little bit of extra struggles there right now. Maybe he's nervous realizing he's on camera. But David seems to have no issues with being camera shy. This is getting hectic up here. Pretty intense now between Hartley, Leo Dragota, and Bennett. All three of these guys want that third podium spot.
Yeah,
and look who's behind
kind of looked
them.
like Drake May getting nervous there in front of the field.
There's a reference. As a Bear fan, trust me, he was not at all nervous. All right, so take a look back there as Eric Violet now starting to catch the pack a little bit, as the pack now catching some lap cars.
Yeah, coming up on Carrizo, Mora, and Sebring, I think.
couple laps down, trying to just stay out of the way here. But this is going to get spicy now with about 10 minutes to go.
It'll be interesting to see what Corrido does because, you know, Corrido's had pace all evening long. He's just obviously been caught up in some bad stuff.
So what I think is going to be interesting here is your first round tonight, your winner there is Eric Violet. He's in the back of this train. He was all happy that he was able to get ahead of his points rival, Mike Dam. Now the roles are reversed. Dam's out in front. And here's Eric Violet. Can't really go anywhere other than the attrition that's happened in front of him. He would love to pick up a spot or two over these other rivals, but not going to be easy because this is nothing but pure pace in front of him. Any one of these 6 drivers in the front here could win this race just based on their talent. Corrido is definitely quick. He'd be pulling Mike Dam along.
Well, and we'll see at some point where if Dam feels a little bit of pressure from Chris Thorman, he might try to push by. And Larry, here's something big, and not a huge surprise. The incident that we had before with Adam Johnson, with Lucas Dragotta, and with Bennett.
As we're watching the replay here of Mike Dam, that's how this all happened with Corrido getting in front of Dam, and with Thorman catching up as Dam had a brake trouble there going into Casio and had to back out, causing this to all bunch up. So he's got no one to blame but himself.
So going back to that, Adam Johnson has been given a drive-through penalty. Obviously, that's no consolation for Lucas Dragotta at this point.
Yes, that definitely isn't. I'm sure if you're Johnson, you're probably not thrilled about how the whole thing went down either. And certainly if you're Bennett, you're not thrilled how that went down because you might have had to be able to stay ahead of one or two of these other cars you're still locked in behind. But having said all that, here we are with about 8 minutes or so left in this round and nothing but a train of really fast drivers at the front of this field, and Mike Dam doing all he can to hold on. I do wonder what's Corrido going to do. If he lets one by, he almost has to let them all by.
But here we go. This is where we're starting to see them getting a little bit backed up behind him.
Yeah, he's going to have to yield at some point because Dam's going to need that position. And there goes one position. Dam's going to get that exit of the hairpin.
Did he, Larry?
He did not. Huh. Well, that's going to help Thorman's cause then, because that exit was a little bit compromised. If you're Mike Dam, what's Thorman going to do now?
And look at Dam coming almost underneath the Porsche.
A little wiggle there in the BMW.
Loose again.
Yeah. It's good through the transitions, but doesn't seem to be able to put the power down, and that's going to hurt him. What about the Aston Martin? Can Thorman get a run? It's looking. Thorman's going to have a pair of BMWs behind him if he's not careful. Oh, it's so close. What is Corrido going to do? He's got to yield at some point, doesn't he?
And Larry, it's shocking. Look at how much more speed Mike Dam carried through the triangle than Chris Thorman.
Yeah.
Thorman lost almost 5 car lengths just coming through the triangle.
Yeah, now looking at Leo Dragotta not getting a good run. Bennett getting a good run. He's going to go alongside. Going to try to carry the Porsche all the way on the outside through here. If he can hold this, and he's been quick here on past laps, he'll have the inside at the next curve here in the S's. And Mike Dam just wrecked. That was your leader.
That was your leader.
And he's done. Oh my
prettied up
goodness.
the front of that BMW, and that's going to put Chris Thorman into the lead. Now the question is, did Corrido have anything to do with it there? We saw Mike Dam getting very loose, Larry, on some of the previous laps, and there you go. He just got a lot of curbing and went around.
You can make a case. Maybe he was distracted, but no, that wasn't enough to do anything. He had plenty of room. unfortunate for Dan. That's all on his own. And he's out. So Eric
Larry,
Violette, the one that's got to be cheering right now.
I was just going to say, Larry, what that means now is Eric Violette just has to run. Yeah, he just has to hit his marks and not get into trouble here. That he picked up points with the win in race number 1, and this is the best scenario for him if he's going to be stuck, back now in 5th position, is just simply to be able to hold station, and he's right at the very back of that pack.
Yeah, the closest one to him in the points, it's in this pack, is going to be Leo Dragotta, who's a number of points and positions down from Violette. So this massive help here for Eric Violette, and this I'm sure not the way he wanted that help, but he'll take it any way he can get it in a battle like it is. But what this does, it puts Chris Thorman in the lead. Let's talk about Thorman for a little bit. We have not seen him win in quite a while. Here he is with 4.5 minutes to go, carrying the flag as the lead car for the D2D as Leo Dragotta runs wide at the 130R. Man,
Dragotta turned in so early there, dropped wheels on driver's right on the entrance to 130R. I'm frankly amazed that he was able to hold on to it on the exit there. But yeah, Chris Thorman, and I think it's been, we'd have to go back and look, but I think it's probably been at least 2 seasons since we've seen him. And again, it's too early. We've still got 4 minutes of racing here, Larry. But I think it's been like 2 seasons since we've seen him at the top of the podium.
And to be honest, his nearest rival right now is Rob Hartley. And it's been a while since we've seen a Hartley win as well. So here's a couple of guys that have been not able to take the top step of the podium in a while here, running for the potential win in this race, and they've got a Dan Carrito in front of them that wants to be in the victory shot, it seems, even though he's like about 3 or 4 laps down. Yeah, I think he's 4 laps down from this after spending 7.5 minutes in the pits. But he's got a fresh race car. Doesn't seem to be slow by any means. But Thorman, oh no, and you see Bennett in the background there, might have clipped the wall coming off that curve, and that's going to move Violet up at least another spot, assuming that Bennett can recover, that she'll at least hold him there, but that did not look good for Bennett.
All right, let's take a look and see what happened to Chris here.
Yeah, watch Bennett running here through these. He'll go through the first curve, runs out, but he goes through the second. Watch the car slide left and hit this wall. Look at that.
As Eric Violette violently drags that car over to driver's right, knowing what the consequences would be if he got taken out.
And Carrito now finally yielding to the pack right as Tyler King is coming through. Perfect timing, if you ask me. If you're Chris Thorman, you don't mind having somebody else messing around behind you. Let him mess with the pack of those BMWs. All right, for Thorman, should be 2 laps to go for everybody, considering that's your race leader, Tyler King, that just came across the stripe with 2.5 minutes to go, and he's doing lap times in just under 2 minutes. So 2 to go now for this whole group.
And Larry, going from bad to worse, Lucas Dragotta just drops his car into the pits.
Oh.
So let's see.
He does not look like the car's handling well for Lucas. It might have just been enough's enough. Yeah, spinning there at the 130, and that's a lot of wall, and it's yeah. Time to go get a pack of fruit snacks and just watch the end of the race on TV.
Yeah. Get a Capri Sun.
All right, so this race is not over. Lap and a half to go here for Chris Thorman, Rob Hartley. Behind them, a little bit to Leo Dragotta and then Eric Violette. And right now, Josh Vidal, who wants to just kind of get by these guys, he's going to probably wait till after the hairpin to do it, which is the wise way, as proven tonight.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, he's given what happened in race 1, might be best to, wait till now.
As Adam Johnson showed that it's tough to go through there 2 and 3 wide. Speaking of, he's still out there, but Jim Pfeiffer, though, still only less than 2 seconds behind Vidal for that second spot. And there is Pfeiffer in that crowd.
All right, and so Larry, as Tyler King is going into Casio for the second to last time, he should be getting the white flag. As we've got about 25 seconds left on the clock here, so it should also mean one more lap for our GT4 racers. And and I think Thorman, we saw earlier how little speed Thorman carries through the Casio triangle. Is this the opportunity where Robert Hartley just tries to maybe chop off the exit of the last corner and come onto the front straight and try to beat him down into the first corner?
It's a risk reward there for Hartley, because while he can make the cornering very well to the corner, I don't know that he can put the power down coming out of there as well as the Aston. He's really got to focus on that exit and maybe get a run down the front straight like we've seen a couple of cars able to do. He should have room to do it. I don't think he's quite as closely challenged behind it. But then again, I say that, and there is young Leo Dragota right on the back of the teammate Hartley. So Hartley's got to watch whatever move he makes. It could come with a counter move.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Thorman's got probably his largest lead of the race at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, in the 2.5 laps he's had this lead, his
exactly.
2 car lengths is about as far as it's been. So as he goes here through the S's, around the Dunlop. Are strong through here, but look at Violet. I wonder if he'll take any chances here or just take his points as he gets them. He's had more points tonight given to him through attrition, I think, than anything else, but take what he can get.
All right, as they come into the hairpin and out.
A little better run there for Leo, I think, than teammate Hartley. Not enough to do anything with it, but enough to back Hartley a little bit further down from race leader there, Thorman. As overall race leader, Tyler King, one more time through the triangle.
And as he comes onto the front straight, Larry, Tyler King is going to come away with his 10th race win of the season. Congratulations to Tyler King from Aerokinetics, your race winner once again in LMP3. As we jump over to GT4 once again, and look at that, running so wide. Eric Violet trying to find a way around Leo Dragota. Cannot do it as they came out of 130R, and as they get in line, come through the triangle for the last time, Chris Thorman, welcome back to the top step of the podium. D2D Sim Racing taking the win. Robert Hartley will finish second. Finishing third will be Leo Dragota, and Eric Violet will finish in fourth. Taking the win for his second time this evening in GT4 AM, it is John Sterling. The Eagle Beaver has flown to the top of the podium, Larry. Chuck Labano will finish in second. David Klimovich comes across the line in third. The Klim Club should be so happy for that with the podium, as Chris Klimovich will finish, Chris Klimovich will finish in fourth.
Yeah, heck of a run there for Thorman, but Sterling, getting the double wins tonight. That's huge for him. I think he's going to be just thrilled. Can't wait to talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, with a huge advantage coming into the evening, Lucas Dragota finishing back in 11th position in GT4 AM, and I think more importantly, I think that is back somewhere along the lines of, I think that's like 20th in GT4 altogether. So big difference in the points haul there. All right, let's do this, Larry. Let's take a quick break. Thanks some of our partners and sponsors. When we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers from race number 2 here at Suzuka, where you've just seen round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back, everybody. It is Suzuka, and it has been round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's not Brian. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, let's take a look at that final finishing order from race number 2, where Tyler King from Aerokinetics takes the win in LMP3 with Josh Vidal fighting back from his late race penalty in race 1. The Phantom Power Racing racer will finish second, with Jim Pfeiffer from Sector 5 finishing in third. In GT4 AM, it's John Sterling running the table tonight. The Eagle Beaver racer takes his Mercedes home with 2 wins. Chuck Lobano, also in a Mercedes, finishing second. Klimovich will finish in third. And did you notice how John Sterling just flashed his lights at us, Larry? Chris Thorman will take the win in GT4 Pro for D2D Sim Racing. Robert Hartley from Orion will finish second. Leo Dragota will finish in third, with Eric Violette, your race 1 winner, finishing in 4th position. All right, so Larry, let's take a look. I think we've got a number of these folks sitting in the green room waiting for us. Let's do this. Why don't we bring in John Sterling first from Eagle Beaver Racing.
All right, joining us here is your winner from the GT4 AM category, both races tonight. John Sterling, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, heck of a performance tonight. I mean, you had the pace, you had the sometimes a little luck, but a whole lot of skill has to go with it around this place, doesn't it?
Yeah, coming into this race, me and my teammates, when we were practicing over a weekend, we thought we were in trouble. And then we started doing the warm-ups before the race, and we're like, the track has changed for the race. And then went through qualifying, qualified almost top 10, just made a couple mistakes during my faster laps. And then I was like, I think we have a shot here. And it, just stayed around Lucas, try to, put pressure on him and stay clean, and it worked out for us.
Yeah, no, just an awesome job tonight. The whole team seemed to have a good, strong team effort. Do you watch those points battles as you're going? Do you kind of keep your eye on where Lucas is and where Maxwell and all the other guys are?
I mean, Lucas is kind of Verstappening our points right now. So. But yes, I do try to keep an eye on the people around me, because if I can't finish first, at least try to finish as best as I can, and that's why I try to stay in it.
Yeah, it was a great, super strong night for you. Exactly what you needed here at this point of the season, getting that double victory for the Eagle Beavers team. We do love your livery on the car, always spectacular. So congrats on a great looking car, but also congrats on getting the back-to-back wins here tonight. But I'm sure you got some folks that help you to get this victory.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates at Eagle Beavers first season with the new name, and it seems to be paying off so far. And I love your guys' jokes on the broadcast. You guys do great broadcasting as well. Thanks to the admins, Ricmotech, for sponsoring the series. And yeah, I guess see you guys next week or next race rather.
All right. Well, congrats again on the double victory here tonight, John Sterling from Eagle Beavers. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, let's now bring in Tyler King, our LMP3 winner, racking up 10 wins so far here this season.
All right, so Tyler King getting the double wins here tonight. And Tyler, it was quite a bit of a fight here for quite a bit of this. Josh chased you down for a little while. Pfeiffer was in the hunt there for a while. Yeah, especially in that second race. Tell a little bit about the effort that had to go into tonight to earn these victories.
Yeah, it was really tough there with all the traffic management. Suzuka is always a really fun track to drive, but really technical and really rewards patience, especially in these multi-class races. At first race, I was kind of losing a lot of time because I had to save so much fuel. I realized I was a little bit short on gas, so I had to save. And Josh obviously capitalized. He came right up on me there for a minute, and I was like, man, he might have a good chance here to get me because I didn't think I was going to save enough. But luckily, I was able to save just enough there to get by. And that second race there, we were able to kind of piece it all together. And Jim had a good fight with me there. That was fun racing with Jim there at the start. And I was able to pull up a nice pass there into the final chicane and just get in a rhythm and just drive away nice and comfortable. So it was a really nice one for the team.
Yeah, really a great passing. We saw a lot of that tonight. You guys had some really good respect for racing, but it also, to me, shows how hard these cars can be to drive at times. But in a way, you make it look easy. The pass you made on Pfeiffer, able to get down to the brakes and work those. And sometimes these cars are kind of notorious for being difficult to brake. But even also following through some of the long sustained corners, like down through Spoon, didn't seem to be much of an aero issue following other cars. Is that the setup you've got, or is that just your confidence in this car that you can drive the car that way and get every ounce out of it?
I've started to get really comfortable in this car. It's starting to become one of my favorite cars now that I put a lot more time into it this year. And with the setups I've been getting by Aerokinetics, it's been a really good time to be able to just get to my comfort zone and just trust that I can keep the car in one piece. A couple early mistakes in the season, but so far just focus on it, staying in a rhythm, and it's been paying off so far. So happy to bring a nice championship lead here going into the penultimate round here in a few weeks.
Yeah, awesome job here getting these double victories tonight. It's never easy, we know that for sure, but in a way you make it look like it's not as hard as it would be for the rest of us humans. But awesome job there. But I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank and give a shout out to.
Yeah, as always, I want to give a shout out to Aerokinetics giving me setup this week and give me the confidence to take on these races every time. Shout out to my family watching at home and all the viewers, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming out every week. And we will see you guys in a couple weeks here at Zolder.
All right, yeah, off to Zolder in a couple of weeks. So can't wait to get there. So congrats there, Tyler, on your double wins here for your team here in LMP3.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that was Tyler King from Aerokinetics. And real quick, Larry, we'll get into it in just a second. It looks like we've got our point standings updated so we can fill in everybody before we leave. But first, let's bring in our winner tonight in race number 2 in GT4 Pro from D2D Sim Racing, Chris Thorman.
All right, tonight for D2D, we thought, Eric gets a win in the first round, but it gets even better as Chris Thorman pulls the win and earned every bit of it there in the second race. Chris, how are you feeling after pulling out that win here in this second race?
I am beat. Both of these races tonight were a fight the entire time.
Absolutely. Yeah, the fight you had there in this second race, you were chasing Mike Dam. It seemed like forever. And then even once he has his issues, you still get the fight coming in from the rest of those Orions. Seems like every time one falls out, there's another Orion to take their place. But you're still able to hold them off and stay steady. What is it about that tonight that allowed you to just sort of breathe and keep on going and to hold these fights off and just maintain that victory?
I really don't know. I didn't think I was that fast, but in the first race, I found some speed. And then in the second race, I just tried to continue that. And there towards the end, I knew I could catch Mike, but I didn't know if I could get by him. And I knew I could stay ahead of Hartley as long as Mike didn't slow me down. So that's what I was working on, was trying to find a way around Mike, and then he helped me.
he did just a little bit of that. So, but you had to be there for the opportunity, and you were right in the middle of that fight the entire time, and holding off folks like Hartley and Dracoda and all them says a lot about the pace you've got and the time you put in to get yourself up there and earn a victory. We were talking about it's been a while since you've had a victory, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been I've had a lot of changes in my life in the last 6 months. It's been real hard to keep my head. I'm 64 years old. If there's a tiny thought running through my head, I can't go fast. So I just got to keep my head clear and just keep my head down and go.
All right, well, you did a great job of it tonight, and trust me, no one needs to know how old everyone is, because if we ask Greg, I mean, his starts at 8, I think.
I'm not 64, Larry.
You're definitely older than that. But Chris, awesome job here getting this win, well earned tonight. But I'm sure you got some teammates and friends you want to thank for it.
Yeah, I gotta thank y'all for showing everybody what we do out here. I really enjoy the broadcast when I watch them. I want to say a heads out to Kevin. We miss him. We would like to have him back, and all the guys that are taking over to get stuff done while he's gone. And I wouldn't be where I am without my D2D teammates. I always got to thank them.
Yeah, well, awesome job here tonight, Chris Thorman, getting the victory here at Suzuka for D2D Sim Racing. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, thanks again to Chris Thorman. So, Larry, we do have the points updated now, so let's take a quick look at see how things are and how they stand after 6 rounds here, 6 of 8 here in the championship. We'll start off with LMP3, because I think that's the easiest one, even for a man of 55 to figure out here. So, Tyler King from Air Kinetics with 10 wins on the season. He keeps a stranglehold on the LMP3 class. He's got a 26-point advantage now over Josh Vidal. Jim Pfeiffer only 3 points back from there, though. So big fight here for second, as we've got just 2 rounds remaining. If we move over to GT3AM, another, I think, fairly easy one to figure out, because Lucas Dragotta, even though it wasn't a great night for him, Larry, he somehow still managed to extend his lead over the rest of the field. He came in to the night with a 68-point advantage over Dale Maxwell. Well, he now has a 72-point advantage, but it is over new second-place driver John Sterling.
The drops will help him do that a little bit, as Lucas ultimately is going to drop tonight's points, but clearly Sterling's going to count tonight, and it's going to matter a lot to him. And so good job for John.
Indeed. So Dale Maxwell now 3rd in the championship with Neil Weston running in 4th. And so let's move over to hotly contested GT4 Pro. And we thought that after race 1 that we might see a change in the championship lead, and I think race 2 certainly cemented it. We came into the evening with Mike Dam, your points leader, over Eric Violette by a slim 5-point margin. It is now a 21-point advantage to Eric Violette from D2D Sim Racing. Mike Dam drops to 2nd in the championship. Travis Schwenke now 8 points back from there, another 8 back to Alex Brown, who's sitting in 4th. All right, so let's take a look, Larry, and wrap things up here. We're going to take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule in the next couple of weeks. I think a couple of folks let out our next miniMite Sportscar Challenge event out of the bag here. But next up, next Monday night, November 18th, the Ricmotech World Challenge will be heading down to Sebring for a 90-minute endurance race. That is for our GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers, so please join us there. Larry and I ought to be really punchy around minute 80 or so. And then in 2 weeks, November 25th, it is Zolder, and the miniMite Sports Car Challenge is going to be heading to Spa's baby brother there for, again, twin 35-minute sprint races. And then on December 2nd, the World Challenge will be heading to the National Park of Speed, Road America, for a 75-minute race. And I know that somebody in the chat had asked about it earlier. Don't forget that the Touring Car Cup, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our MX-5 Cup and GR86 Cup cars will be returning in January. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, who I always seem to call Brian for that masshole John Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and I'm Chris Stifler's best friend. We will see you next Monday night from Sebring. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.